mechanism.
ठीक है. अच्छा, I'm going to take too much more of your time. I just have a last few questions, right? The first one is, I know that you're heavily invested or were heavily invested in crypto.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in Pakistan, especially our listeners, want to know how crypto works. How do you make money from crypto? Is it a good time to invest in crypto? So I'll first ask you that, then I'll ask you the next question. So what about crypto?
You asked a question that I think we're going to need lots more time.
That's fine.
So
We'll go over. Just tell me about how this works, because
we're
I
going
also
in the
want to
rabbit
invest.
hole of crypto now.
Okay.
So everything that's happening with the strong dollar, all this stuff, Pakistan's currency devaluing, this is actually linked to the changing of the monetary system and the money that's in our wallets, right? We're about to move from a paper or analog based systems. Paper is like the physical cash, and the analog system is the current bank. When you see those digits in your bank account, that's there. It's digital, but in reality, because the settlement times are so long, it's analog. It's not instantaneous like this. So we're in the internet has been built on layers. So if you let's think about the TCP/IP layer very quickly to give you a rundown. Data, very baseline data, and connectivity was dial-up initially. So you had baseline things like email disrupted postal services, at least for like letters and stuff, right? I'm not sure how many people write letters today. Back in the 90s, you had to, early 90s, because you didn't have prevalent email access. So as the internet, you have the TCP/IP layer. Then somebody said, hey, we should also have voice over IP, right? So there was a huge long distance business that was disrupted. All the AT&T and even PTCL and all these guys used to have big bills that they used to bill to your regular phones for calling Dubai or US. Now that's happening on, at least for the US, it's happening on WhatsApp. I think Dubai it's BOTIM.
Yeah.
But my point is, you have to look at, in order to invest, you have to look at what paradigm of the internet you're in. You definitely could not have done a mobility play when you didn't have even smartphones.
Right. Didn't make sense.
So the logic comes from this entire layer that's being building. Then video over IP happened, where suddenly now everybody's watching Netflix, YouTube all over the world. And it's actually impacting the linear satellite and cable channels. Some of them know it, some of them don't know it yet, that they're being disrupted.
Yeah, they're being...
Then we had now what we're in now, and obviously there's other forms of disruption that happen with each opening. But I mean, I'm just trying to just keep it simple. We're in the exchange of value disruption today, which is money merging with the internet. So that's a very different, profound change, right? So regulations that you're seeing, FATF, that's again source of funds on cash. So it wants to trace effectively globally where's cash going, the black economy, right? Imagine a world without cash, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, maybe 20 years in Pakistan. It's going to take a lot more smartphones to be seeded. I think we're already at 50% of the population, but we need to get to at least 70, 80% to actually start to eradicate cash from the system, and the central bank would end up doing that. But that's where the world is headed. The internet is moving at a 15x velocity, and money transfer system in settlements is moving at the dinosaur age. Like, I mean, I can pick up the phone and call a friend in New York and do a video call with a friend on New York on WhatsApp or FaceTime in a split second. But if I want to send the person money, it's going to take like 3 to 4 days for settlements. And I have to go through 50, hoops of paperwork and all sorts of stuff, right? At least from Pakistan. The rest of the world, things have changed. You can send money, credits instantaneously.
Yeah.
So that evolution process is happening, but don't think from the existing banking setup. That is where you have to put physical cash. There were custodians, and then basically you're writing checks or sending wires. That's like obsolete. The new component is where basically money itself is on your phone. You press a button, it credits instantaneously, and it's digital, so it has to settle instantaneously. Right. The key crypto is the protocol in cryptos is effectively, and those are like 10,000 of them competing. There's only a handful that are competing to be money. The rest are competing to be tokens, which I'll go into as a whole different universe. It's like our financialized world moving to a digital world.
Right.
And this will happen gradually. So, जब ये settlement आपकी instantaneous होगी, so it has to, in order for digital money to replace cash, what has to happen is you have to feel, as let's say I'm buying a glass from you, right? So you say, hey, Faisal, this glass is 100 rupees. If I give you the 100 rupee physical cash, you're going to say, yep, it's settled. I take the glass and I leave. लेकिन अगर मैं डिजिटली आपको पे कर रहा हूँ और मैं ग्लास पकड़ लेता हूँ और वो आपका 1 घंटे बाद सेटल हो रहा है, तो आप कहेंगे नहीं यार इसको यहाँ पे छोड़ो, जब वो सेटल होगा देन कम बैक. नाउ दिस इज अ ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट कि यार मैं ले लूँ, आप मुझे ग्लास ना दें. तो दैट्स व्हाई कैश इज प्रेफर्ड कि उधर ही ट्रांजैक्शन हो गया है. एंड बैंक ट्रांसफर्स और बैंक वायर्स और डिजिटल सेटलमेंट्स टुडे और एनालॉग सेटलमेंट्स आई लाइक टू कॉल देम usually are done for very large scale transactions where there's a trusted party in the middle, lawyers and contracts.
Like a house or something large.
Exactly. Property में बहुत से इस तरह वो pay order बन के आता है.
Exactly.
It is, you don't want to do that for buying a glass. So I could get a pay order. I don't know. Can you even get a 100 rupee pay order?
I don't know. I guess, but theoretically you should be able to. Yeah.
But मैं सिर्फ दिखाने की my point in this exercise is try to show कि look, it's creating inefficiencies, right? Now, once you go digital and I press a button and you receive it instantaneously, there was a problem called the double spend problem, which is because the speeds were not fast enough, in my wallet or ledger, I could give you 100 rupees, and before the system upgrades, I give the money to someone else. And remember, money, in order for it to behave like money, it has to be immutable in the sense that I can't reverse the transactions.
Yeah, of course.
Or no one should be able to. Sorry, in order for it to behave like currency, like notes, nobody should be able to reverse it, right? पैसे एक बार आपके हाथ में आ गया, आपने ले गए, it's cash, right? It's a bearer's asset. So this is what's evolving. It's going to play out in all sorts of bubbles. Like things are going to come up. Everyone's going to come up, claim to have the better technology, but that's the ecosystem this is playing out in, and we're eventually going to move to a new monetary system in the world, जिसके आपको fissures अभी नज़र आ रहे हैं. It's ये जो सारा जो interest rates ऊपर जा रहे हैं, Russia is invading Ukraine, the entire crisis there, what's playing out in Taiwan, this entire SCO bloc that's being created, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization bloc with Central Asian countries under the tutelage of Russia and China, and then other powerful countries like Turkey, Iran are observers. India is also part of this. Pakistan is a part as well. Then let's look at the other region, which is MENA, Middle East, North Africa, and Pakistan. These are all trade corridors or trade zones, you can say. What currency they choose to price as their trade currency has profound implications on the monetary system of the world. Historically, it was a no-brainer that we want to price this in dollars.
Yeah.
But gradually, like if your own currency does not have demand outside your borders, which is the rupee, for example, it's not a reserve currency. Reserve currencies are the dollar, the pound, the yen, and the euro.
Yeah.
Right? And actually, the euro and the dollar are the strongest two. And then there's the yen and pound. Pound is the weakest link now. They have a natural advantage because if there's demand outside, it's trusted, it's liquid, and there's also demand for those countries' bonds. So those countries do well because they can get borrowings very quickly. In Pakistan, there's a confidence crisis in general because of multiple structural issues in the country. So our currency, even if our bonds, sovereign bonds, जो government back करती है, उसकी external demand पे लोग घबराते हैं. So जब हम borrow भी करने जाते हैं, तो हमारे terms इसलिए strict होते हैं. Because people are questioning our ability to pay back. We're a big economy. It's just how we've structured ourselves. If we fix these things, actually Pakistan is the next South Korea effectively. Don't look at us as like, we shouldn't be competing with like India as a behemoth.
Yeah.
But look at this global chain. We are definitely a South Korea level country if we can get
in the
things
making,
correct.
yeah.
But so coming back to the final crypto component. So now within this entire disruption that's happening, and I don't believe that Bitcoin is going to become the world reserve currency. It could. I think there's an outlier chance of that. I think more than likely it's going to be the digital dollar. Currently we're on the analog dollar in the banking system and then the physical paper cash one. So either it's going to be the digital dollar or it's going to be a basket of currencies where everybody sits down and acknowledges these are the big economies in the world and the currencies people trust. Yeah. And so you can create a new, you can say a token equivalent, which will be digital format. But for example, there's something at the IMF, International Monetary Fund, called the Special Drawing Rights, SDR, which takes into component, for example, the dollar based on their world trade, the euro based on their share of the world trade, the yen, the pound, and the renminbi. In fact, that was added in 2016 for the first time. They're Chinese currency. They're not available on the SWIFT system, which is the international wiring banking system, but the Chinese are recognized by the IMF as an international trade currency and a potential reserve currency. So maybe that type of monetary system emerges, and that'll be digital or crypto in nature, with backed by some sort of sovereign. But what Bitcoin is, in my opinion, and I think it's a great bet, is digital gold. It's replacing the place that gold has. Gold has been a store of value historically, and I actually think that Bitcoin is going to suck the sentiment that would have gone into gold as we're facing devaluation all over the world, and it's going to continue to happen this entire decade until we move to a new system. I think Bitcoin's going to suck a lot of that element in.
So is Bitcoin like gold in that it's never going to go down? I mean, is it the one we should invest in even if it's at a high rate right now? Or should you go for a, I don't know, something up and coming?
Definitely not Dogecoin.
Okay.
Look, so obviously when you're speculating, it's very risky. So
Right.
to call it safe is
Nothing is safe.
is not.
Yeah.
In my world, I consider crypto to be actually safer than your regular currency because people don't measure that even the dollar is going down. So let's do the math on Bitcoin. So 2009 में जब बिटकॉइन लॉन्च हुआ था तो उसकी जो वैल्यू थी वो थी 1 सेंट, यानी कि $1 के सेंट के बराबर. So people call it volatile. People say that it's not appreciating, right? Today, even in a crash, I think आज $18,000 का था, however much. $18,000 are now needed to buy one Bitcoin. So just think of what the growth has been, right? And I think Bitcoin might even crash to $3,200 this time, because this is a very unique cycle. In crypto, it's like the dot-com bust. So if you go look at Amazon, dot-com bust mein, I think it went from $106 down to like $6, because jo aapka bubble first time pop hota hai, it's basically, it takes multiple waves to come down and settle back to revert to the mean. So when you see charts that go like this, they should come back to the mean. And that's what happened in dot-com. That's what's happened in crypto at the end of this cycle.
So are you currently selling Bitcoin, or are you holding on?
No,
to it?
I think, look, it's something that it's an asset like gold. You don't think about these type of assets as an investment. You think about them as exposure. It's an insurance from the devaluation. So I was taking exposure to it as early as 2015, 16, because my thesis was that we're headed in a world where central banks are going to print repeatedly. There's no way out of this current mess that we've been in since 2008. It's a global phenomenon. So you're going to have devaluation. I think if you fast forward from 16 to today, even I get shocked, even though I knew this was going to happen, but when I'm sitting there looking at the Pakistan rupee at 240, 250, I mean, open market में almost 250 hai. It's pretty profound, right?
Yeah.
It's, I mean, अगर मैं 2016 में जाऊँ, I think rupee कितना था? I think 270, 68, 74 rupees to a dollar versus 250. So I'll do an exercise. I know it's getting long, but this is something you love.
No.
So I do this with a lot of my friends and founders, and I'll show you the value of gold in the system in terms of how currencies debase over time, and then वहाँ से आप उसको correlate कर लें Bitcoin के अंदर, right? Okay, so let's say you have 20 lakh rupees in the year 2000.
ठीक है.
So now cash you want to invest somewhere, right? Because it depreciates or devalues over time. So the logic would have been, yeah, let me just buy dollars. I think the dollar around that time was somewhere around 50 rupees to a dollar, which sounds pretty remarkable to us now, but people at that time were holding their head because it looked like it had devalued. So basically अगर आप convert करते तो आपको 20 लाख के $40,000 मिल जाते, right? And had you converted that 40,000, not gone for dollar, but you went for gold. Gold was $200 an ounce. So let's go ahead and divide $40,000. Dollars में measure करते हैं gold को. So basically आपके पास 20 लाख रुपए होते, which is equal to $40,000 or 200 ounces of gold. And that's international measures ounces, especially in the London Bullion Exchange for gold. Let's fast forward to today. Okay. So 20 lakh rupees is 20 lakh rupees. And this is, I'm talking about if you were just to take currency and basically move it to other formats, not putting in the stock market or land. There you would have seen the return. because those other investments are capturing devaluation and inflation, offsetting inflation. So अगर 20 लाख रुपए आज 20 लाख रुपए ही हैं. If you were to convert it to dollars today, had you just kept it in 20 lakhs, you were, let's say, really complacent and you didn't see what was happening. I think मैं open market का rate लेता हूँ जो आपको dealers देंगे 250 के आसपास है. तो $8,000. तो clearly you were better off changing to dollars in 2000. Your 20 lakh rupees. $40,000 had you converted is still $40,000. Okay, fine. Everybody still thinks the dollar is strong. But let's see how the dollar is devaluing. So remember, it was 20 lakh rupees in 2000, $40,000 or 200 ounces of gold.
Yeah.
Let's come to this point today. And we just said 20 lakh rupees is $8,000. $40,000 is $40,000. But what is 200 ounces of gold in dollars? So let's do that math. Even in a crash, and I think gold is just in a short-term bear market. If you have a 10-year view, gold will always capture the devaluation. It is around 1,700 average. Last 90 days ke liye dollars. So it's around $340,000 value, right? So all currencies, including dollars, are devaluing. Because अगर मैंने $40,000 के 200 ounces दिए थे in 2000, in 2022, I have to spend $340,000 to buy the same. Right? So this is in my opinion, this is the base. Once you understand this in investments, then you start looking at asset classes like, okay, what's bonds, fixed income, what is stocks, what is land, what is startups, or stocks, you're investing in public companies. You can also invest in private companies, whether those are tech companies, startups, or they're private companies, businesses as well, right? So, and tying all this back to crypto is that as we move to a cashless system, you can't have a bearer's asset in physical format. So it's a